We use this extensively in Highland case management. So there's the typical process that is very linear. You know, a request comes in, and I'm going to fulfill that request, and I'm going to close it. You know, it's pretty basic. It's going to follow these standard steps. But sometimes there are things like a contract, like an employee incident, like a records request that aren't always as linear. And instead, this case file maybe needs to be open so that we can track data or information about it. We manage with a staff of 12 attorneys, you know, contract administrators. Last year at Highland, we processed almost 7,000 new contracts with a staff of about 12 using this case management application. The contract process will typically start with an electronic form, but remember, just having this form on a website is not digital transformation. Enabling the staff behind the scenes to manage the process is what is transformative. So the request comes in for a new contract with a new customer or a new vendor, and we can see all of that data, but we can also see all of the statuses that this contract process may go through. We use this extensively at Highland for employee incidents or for IT help desk tickets. It becomes this little case that sometimes is linear, but in other cases is not. We can see data about the contract. In this case, we can see the clause, the contracts where a particular clause is being used. We can use all of that reporting. We can actually draft the contract automatically, directly out of case management. This is just one application for the case management tool. Another way in which we use it at Highland is for our IT help desk. And I think that's a good example of how sometimes, let's say I have, you know, a computer problem. Sometimes it's up, the end key is stuck. We gave Colleen a new keyboard. She's fine. The incident is closed. Other cases, our IT help desk might get a request that says, boy, my computer's really slow. My laptop is really loud. But that could be any number of things. We tried this, we tried that, we re-imaged the machine, we tried, you know, rebooting, we tried reinstalling. There's all of these different pieces that come into play, and it becomes this little case where there's notifications that are sent out that are the status. There's the workflow behind the scenes where the content is driving itself. And now they can report on, you know, not just what, you know, employees are maybe the most productive in fulfilling these requests, but are there particular departments at Highland that are more guilty than others in terms of submitting requests in the first place? All of these different metrics are possible. You know, here's another example. This is an information request. I need information. It's a form. Well, then here's what the application looks like behind the scenes. The request comes in, it was collected, we packaged it up, we created that PDF, we have all of the details about it. Here's where we're going to share information. Here's the requester. Here's all of the documents to which it relates. There are so many applications for case management, it's crazy. And we have thousands of customers using case management to transform what was an Excel spreadsheet, what was a Lotus Notes database or an Access database, into an image-enabled, document-enabled, workflow-processed, you know, automated notification system to manage that unpredictable process. One of my favorite stories of case management, completely, you know, unrelated to Greensboro Auto Auction, is that of the Wisconsin Department of Corrections. So they use case management to manage employee incidents. So any person in the state penitentiary has an opportunity to fill out a form with whatever their complaint is, whatever their incident is. Sometimes they're too cold and they need a new blanket, and so that's an easy request to fulfill. Sometimes, unfortunately, the incident is much bigger. You know, I as an inmate am having a problem with another inmate or with a corrections officer. Well, you can see how that would quickly spawn into a case. Maybe we need a third-party legal team involved or a social worker. We want to interview the other inmate. We want to interview the corrections officer. We want to collect all these different pieces of collateral. And they talk about how, you know, not only has their process been streamlined, but they have visibility into corrections officers and into inmates and to particular penitentiaries in the state system. They also, you know, can make generalizations like, boy, there's a lot of people requesting blankets, maybe they're cold, or a lot of people complaining about the same corrections officers. And not only have they improved, you know, the processes, but the inmates also now feel like they're being heard, they're being seen. And in all, they will talk about how the satisfaction of everyone involved has been improved because of case management. Notre Dame University uses case management to manage the first year experience of their students, because they found that if the student stays through the first year, more likely they are to graduate successfully from the organization. What they had found, that information about their students was like all over the place. We have some information in the bursar, financial information. We have a little bit about their transcripts. We have some from the athletic department. Well, they had a meeting with this counselor and that wasn't recorded. So they use case management to collect all of that data and create one student record. It is essential to support the internal staff with the right tools to fulfill these requests.